Hey everybody, welcome back. Sive here with ForexPeaceArmy.com. So we're gradually coming to the weekend. This week, as you can see, is on the gold market, is in the euro currency. We haven't got any significant performance. It's mostly market stands in a tight range. In fact, we've got the whole week inside of this range of this candle. And in general, it's mostly it was some kind of a consolidation. So let's see with what results we're coming to the weekend and see actually what theoretically we could keep an eye on. On the daily chart, I do not see something really interesting for now. Market stands stable around the confluence area. The one thing that probably worth it to mention here is a coming MACD indicator coming to the crossing, and here maybe not today but somewhere in the beginning of the next week it might be some issues with the MACD predictor with possible grabbers and so on. Since in the current circumstances, as downward scenario as upward scenario are equally possible, the grabbers might really clarify the situation. So for instance, if we get the bearish grabber as it was here, and we will get it in this point, we could get another leg down. So that's what we talked about recently on the Great British Pound. So we will return back to the Great British Pound today as well. Just take the brief look because there we have really nice setup with the good patterns. It's much clearer than on the euro currency, and maybe it might be more interactive to work with the Great British Pound right now, make business with it rather than trying to resolve the riddle of the euro currency. Still, on the cross market analysis, what we have, it's also important part right now. When markets is wobbling, showing no clear patterns, the cross market could help a lot. And particularly speaking on the dollar index, what we have recently, we've got the grabbers that suggested this drop, and on the euro currency we've got this upper direction. We discussed it 2 days ago. Now once again, take a look, we've got the new grabbers, and both of them also suggest taking out of these lows. It means that we could get a kind of the ABCD pattern. Here is actually, as you can see, we have a very similar triangle that we have on the euro currency. So almost the same stuff that we have. Right? So if this grabber suggests taking out of these lows, correspondingly on the euro currency, it suggests taking out of this top. So idea of possible deeper retracement, some kind of the ABCD, still stands on the table. That's why in the current circumstances, at least today, I wouldn't consider taking new shorts by far. Waiting how the situation with the grabbers will be resolved on the dollar index, what will happen on the euro currency. Because if we will get here some high upper direction, market is coming directly to clash with the MACD indicator on Monday, and that might be really the background that bearish I would like to get. For instance, they could get the grabber near resistance area, and that might be much better setup for position taking rather than now. So that's what we have on the 4-hour time frame chart. On the lower time frame, on the hourly, I do not see a really lot of interesting thing here. As I said, probably currently we should not consider downside action, despite that we've got yesterday the pullback that we talked about, but currently odds stands in favor of possible upward continuation, even it will become really small. So from that standpoint of view, it makes sense to consider kind of the ABCD target, and here, for example, you could also consider minor butterfly pattern that might be completed, and actually this minor setup of the grabbers on the dollar index might be completed as well. So it might be looking like this, but you probably already could imagine it by yourself. So some kind of the butterfly to the upside might be formed if our suggestion will be correct, and I suspect that this might be the same target as a ABCD pattern. So if we'll calculate some right, so you can see mostly it coincides in the same point. It's approximately 1850. So that's the point that you theoretically could keep in mind is a potential upside performance if you have taken position with our minor hand shorters pattern here, or maybe you have entered recently, or whether you have taken position with the dollar index on the bullish side or bearish side. That's really the point that you could keep an eye on. Now, if you take a look at the British Pound, here's everything was just beautiful, so you can see what has happened after our discussion. Market has collapsed. Now it stands in some pullback. If your currency could form the ABCD target, showing a bit high performance Great British Pound, although it keeps the same tendency in general, but the swings are different because obviously this is the different currency, and it has its own political and economic background of the UK. So that explains that in general we have similar performance, but it is more evident. So for example, downward action was really fast yesterday, it just collapsed to the downside. Retracement instead shows a bit signs of weakness, not as good as on the euro currency, for example. Here the retracement stands more active. So your Great British Pound, it has a bit more gravitation to bearish performance. So that's why currently, despite that we have here some pullback, I wouldn't actually erase an idea of the free drive, because take a look. Just for a moment I will take it out and will show you the possible scenario that we could get if even market will keep going with this retracement. For instance, it easily might be something like this. I will not be surprised if we'll get here the downside 127 butterfly when retracement will be over. At this point probably euro already will complete its 1850 target, and then we could get something like this. Very often the free drives consists of the butterflies. So you can see here the butterfly, downside action, here's might be another one. So that's the patterns that actually you could keep an eye on as well, and that's the reason why on the cable situation is an overall scenario looks very attractive. It's just because you can see the clear patterns, you know the targets. Well, it's just much comfortable, more comfortable to deal with it rather than with the euro. Finally, if you take a look at the 10-year bonds, you could see that while the dollar actually is moving down, you can see that yield stands under pressure. Market right now is challenging precisely for even target, for even level on the 10-year bonds. This is important, and if market will drop below it, it might be moving to the 390 and even lower. So from that standpoint of view, it's also a bearish sign for the dollar and supports short-term chances on retracement on the euro.